Hi there, welcome to day 15. Today we get to talk about something that is so dear to my heart. It's something that certainly in my journey has been a great teacher, healer, supporter, and has opened up my world my mind, let's say that, to the world of energy and possibilities. As crystals have taught me more than probably anything else, is that my work with crystals, my obsession with crystals, my passion for crystals, my desire to understand crystals has led me down this path. And I'll never forget, as I started this journey of awakening, as a child I always loved little pretty stones and that, but didn't actually think much of it. And then I was at a nursery called Garden World, and they had this sort of fete, and there was a woman standing there with crystals, and I remember picking up one and thinking, oh, it's almost like it just started to tingle in my hands, and it woke me up to so much around just my own spirit and my own connection with earth and crystal energy. And so crystals are this magical tool that we can use to support us in our journey. And for those of you that are drawn to crystals, I'm really going to say this very clearly for you, is that you need to trust that you've worked with crystals before in a past lifetime. As those that are drawn to any tool, if you're drawn to the sound stuff, then it's quite, or it's almost 100% probable that somewhere in a past life you've worked with that. If you're drawn to crystals, then somewhere in a past life you've worked with crystals. So it truly is about remembering your connection with them and remembering about what you did with them, as opposed to learning. And there's so many wonderful courses you can go on around crystals. I'll add a link to one that I do. There's an amazing woman called Hibiscus Moon. You can find her on Facebook or online, and she's got a beautiful online training program to become a crystal healer, if this is something you're drawn to. There's amazing books, thousands of YouTube videos, all those sorts of things. But without a doubt, the way to learn about crystals is to play with them, is to work with them, is to connect with them. So crystal energy, let me play with this one. This is a crystal called Seraphinite. In my top 12 crystal video, which you'll see after this, I'll explain the various crystals. The reasons crystals work is, I get asked this question very much, and again I'm going to refer you to Hibiscus Moon, because she's a science teacher and she can explain the science of crystals much better than I can. But very simply, we all have a frequency. We all resonate at a frequency. We've spoken about this, and this is what this entire course is about shifting that vibration. Now, yours and my frequency as human beings shifts and changes. It moves during the day, depending on who we're around, our mood, how well we're feeling, what is happening, etc., the environment we're in. We are not very static. Our energy shifts and moves throughout our day, depending on what is happening for us. Now, crystals, they resonate at a perfect frequency, so they stay at a static rate. And they are compacted molecules from the earth that hold different colors, sounds, vibrations, frequencies in them, have been compacted over millions and millions and millions of years. And these crystals then hold a certain frequency and they stay static. And that's the important thing to know around them, is they are static and we are oscillating at different rates. Now, in terms of science, if we put two energy frequencies near each other, we will calibrate to the one that is more stable than the other. So if I'm holding this crystal or wearing a crystal or working with a crystal, eventually my energy frequency starts to connect in with that energy frequency, and it starts to vibrate at the same frequency as this. So knowing that crystals help stabilize your energy, crystals help raise your energy, crystals help absorb things from your energy, it is really a very powerful tool for those of us wanting to work with energy and vibration. Now, when I said earlier, the best way to learn around crystals is to play with them, is, for example, this is seraphonite, and this is an amethyst crystal here. These are my crystals that I channel with behind me here. If ever you've been for a session with me, you'll know that I channel with these crystals. Isn't this beautiful? Just look at all the, I don't know if you'll see all the various rainbows, and there's a heart in it. It's just so much magic in this amethyst ball. Sphere, it doesn't like being called a ball. Is even though this is an amethyst sphere and you get other amethyst sphere, they will hold a different frequency, they'll hold different stories, they'll hold different messages for you. And without a doubt, the crystals you have are the crystals that you need and the crystals that work for you. And you can go and read up what seraphonite does, and you can go and read up what amethyst does, and you can then intellectually work with crystals from the perspective of, I now know amethyst is for my crown chakra and it's for spiritual connection, and so that's why I use it. Or I now know seraphonite is for angelic connection. When you know, it's not enough. And I almost recommend, when I do crystal teaching, don't read what the crystal is. Don't even know the name of the crystal. Sit, hold the crystal in your hand, close your eyes and go into meditation, and the crystal will tell you what its purpose in your life is and how you can use it. Let the crystal teach you. Obviously, it's lovely to learn about all these crystals, but you can read thousands of crystals. And when you go into a crystal shop, it's not about, oh, I'm needing crystals around abundance, so I must go and get citrine and and I get my prescription and I go and get it. Walk into the crystal shop, walk around, find your intuition, and pick the crystals that you're drawn to. Because whilst the books might tell you citrine is a great crystal for abundance, you might be drawn to malachite, for example, which is a green crystal. And every book will tell you that maybe not is it, but maybe you're not manifesting abundance because of a blockage in your heart, and malachite's going to help unblock that. So really, really trust your intuition as to what crystals that you are drawn to. Now, if we start with some very basics, and really crystals we can talk about for hours, so I'm really introducing it to you today. There's going to be another video about my top 12 crystals so that you can get exposure to some different crystals. And then tomorrow I'm going to be talking about how you can use crystals. But a lot of the time the questions I get is like, how do I clean my crystals? How do I charge my crystals? All these sorts of things. Something that is really important to know is your crystals actually don't need you to be doing any of that work on them. They don't need us to tell them what to do. They don't need us to clean them. They don't need us to do anything. It's nice for us to do that stuff because it provides a ritual and an intention of us working with the crystal and develops the energy between us and the crystal. So the rituals of programming and setting intentions and clearing crystals, they're more for us than for the crystals. It helps us in our energy field, but the crystals don't need it as much as we want it, and we need it and as much as it serves us. So when you want to clear crystals, and I'll add a link to this for you, there's a number of ways you can do it. You can run a crystal under water. If you just run it under a tap and let the water flow over it, it's a very beautiful, it's like being in a stream. Imagine it's like water cleanses and heals and releases anything that is attached. The only caveat to that is any crystal that ends in the words ITE, IT. So anything that has ITE, seraphonite, celestite, selenite, there's hundreds of crystals that end in night. They are not going to respond as well to water as other crystals are. So you will typically see they've got more of a flaky kind of feel. And so if you leave them in water, they can dissolve over a long period of time. But it's just something to be aware of and useful. So, but you can use your own logic around it. A crystal like this is not going to flake under water, whereas a crystal like this may. You can put them out in the moonlight, and I love doing rituals at full moon with your crystals is beautiful, put them out, call in the Mother Moon to clear the crystals. In one of the future modules, we're going to be dealing with working with nature, and we'll talk about the moon a bit more there. You can put them in full moon, you can put them in rice, you can put them in salt, you can very clearly just hold them in your hand. And if you remember in one of the first modules, we did that chi ball. The chi ball was when you clapped your hands together and you created this ball of energy and light. If I wanted to clear my crystals, you can create this chi ball and you can just program my crystals that way, and that clears them. You can use any aura clearing spray, you can do that. And sound is a powerful, powerful tool for bringing crystals back to their perfect resonance. If you use one of the where's the word gone? The bowls, the Tibetan bowls, or even the Buddhist bells, any of those, you just move them in the area around it, it clears your crystals to perfect resonance. Again, please do not make this work because your crystals don't need this, you need it. And it's useful for you to develop that connection with your crystals. Crystals are very... when you get your crystal, it's useful to play with it, infuse your energy with it, connect with it, let it tell you what it wants to do in your world. And using crystals in a number of different ways, as we'll talk about tomorrow, can help you with various things in your life. One of the things that's really useful to know around crystals, and I get this a lot because, you know, I've been very lucky. I've developed a collection of crystals over the years, and I get to put it down as a business expense often, so it's a bargain. But if you can't afford a crystal, you can call in the angel of that crystal. So there's an angelic being. So this would be amethyst, so this is amethyst, sorry, so the angelic being, the guardian being of amethyst, you can call in that angel and you can work with the amethyst energy through that angel. So you don't have to have the crystal to work with the crystal energy. And that's very cool to know because it's impossible to go and buy every crystal. But if you become aware of a crystal, or there's some crystals that are very expensive, and you'll see in my top 12, I'll talk about the different ones. You can work with the angel of the crystal. Now, I often also get asked, you know, does size matter in terms of crystals? And it does. So the bigger the crystal, the bigger the energy field it contains. If I have a smaller crystal, well, these are all quite large, but a smaller crystal, so this is a clear quartz, a record keeper crystal, a smaller crystal will have it's the radius of energy that it impacts. So the bigger the crystal, the bigger the radius. And so if I'm wanting to start working with crystals in rooms and so on and so forth, the bigger the crystal, the more radius it's going to have, the more its energy distributes. But tomorrow I'll talk about crystal grids, and that's one of the ways to amplify crystals and to take it further. In the color workshop, we spoke about color, and I showed you crystals then, and the spectrum of color of crystals is really useful to know, is that it works exactly the same way as the color. So a black crystal is going to absorb energy, and a clear crystal is going to distribute energy. So if I'm working with clear quartz, it's going to be one that magnifies energy. If I'm working with black tourmaline, just got a piece of tourmaline here, sorry, my crystals fell. Black tourmaline is going to absorb energy. So one of the things to know is that I don't want to go and put clear crystals that are magnifying energy near my computer or near my TV or anything that's got electromagnetic rays, because it's just going to amplify that electromagnetic rays. So around, if I'm wanting a crystal for protection or absorption, something like that, I'm going to go with the darker crystals. So that's really, as a rule of thumb, useful to know, is if I'm wanting to magnify, so I'm wanting to go with clear, and if I'm wanting to absorb it, I'm wanting to go with darker crystals. And I've attached for you a link as well to crystals that I like to use for the different chakras. So again, when we're looking at the chakras, if I'm looking at my throat chakra, what is the crystal that can help release blockages, shift the energy, and bring my throat chakra to its perfect frequency, or my third eye, or my solar plexus? So that is attached for you as well. So that's a very, very, very brief introduction to the world of crystals. They're this amazing tool to support you, and they can bring you a profound amount of shift in your world. As I said, there's a whole lot of attachments. Look out for my top 12 video that's there, and tomorrow I'll be doing a video around how you can use crystals in your day-to-day life. So until then, namaste, see you tomorrow. Take care.